These times are strange, it's quite surreal. It's never been like this. Remember in the good old days when we could hug and kiss. We'd pack the gyms and restaurants and move through public settings. We'd give high fives and drink at dives, hold hands and dance at weddings. Now the days are longer, yet they're darker in a way. We're pressing pause on normalcy, just going day by day. But we can still make jokes and art, garden, dance and sing, cook, read books, try on fun looks and learn about new things. We can talk with friends of ours and have a heart to heart, just so long as we'll stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. It's the newest thing to do. Stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. The distance between me and you, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. And when I say I'll keep you very close to my heart, it's purely metaphorical. These times are quite historical, so step aside, let's live our lives 6 feet apart.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to 6 Feet Apart Productions, open mic, Mom's the Word. Tonight is a story slam, so we have 9 tellers. We had 10, we had one that had to drop out, unfortunately. So 9 tellers are going to tell a true personal story on the theme of Mom's the Word. And these aren't stand-up routines, they're not rants. We can't guarantee that it's all PG language, so if you have small kids, you might want to scoot them from the room. But at the end, you'll be able to vote for your 2 favorite stories. So we're so happy to have you here, our YouTube audience. Put your name and some love in the chat. We always like to find out who's here and where you're watching us from. And of course, we want to bring up our backstage audience, which is our producers and our storytellers. So let's say hello to the backstage crew. There they are. Good looking bunch. I think the best looking bunch we've had so far. That's what I have to say about that. So it's Mother's Day. Mom's the Word. It's a little bit past Mother's Day, but all things mom. Now, I don't know. I had a Midwest mom, and I don't know if any of you are from the Midwest, but my mom was one of those moms that had she had like 1,000 different Cool Whip containers in the refrigerator. You never knew what was in any of the Cool Whip containers. It was kind of like a Rubik's Cube Cool Whip food nightmare. And then we had a freezer in the basement, and I think my mom had venison from the Lewis and Clark expedition in that freezer, and she would send us down there to get an entree of some kind, and we hated that because we'd go down to the basement and we'd have to dig through the freezer, and the only thing in there were like frozen blocks of aluminum foil with some sort of hieroglyphics on them, and we'd just have frozen fingers, and we'd crawl to the bottom of the stairs and we'd be like, Mom, I can't find it. It's not in the freezer. And she'd come to the top of the stairs and be like, bring me up some chicken. Something from the late 60s, early 70s. It's in a Cool Whip container. So that was my Midwest food childhood. My mom was good at leftovers. I swear we ate things in the 80s that started out in the late 60s, and she just kept repurposing them. But that's what you have when you're a child of the Depression. You don't waste any food. So that's an homage to my mom. We're going to get the evening started. We're going to bring up our winner from last month. Tori Shine won the April event, which is called Hindsight. We're going to have a little chat with her, and she gets the honor of naming a certain thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's bring up Tori Shine. There she is. There's the name. All right. Let's see what she's up to. Hi, Tori. How are you?
Hi, I'm really well. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. Hey, so tell me, how has life changed in the months since you won? I think it's just gone crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Really, I mean, the 6 Feet Apart Slam has changed my life. I get recognized on the street. I'm getting all of these opportunities for upcoming, festivals and different performance opportunities. I'm going to be relocating to New York City. That's true. Excellent. And it's really just, my life is about to change in big ways. And at least some of that, I think, is due to this slam.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. We love to be the launch pad for famous people. That's what I love to do. And Tori, you've got a show coming up though, right? You do have a show coming up. Where is that or when is that? How can we find out about it?
I have a couple shows coming up. They're both live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you're not in Pittsburgh or interested in traveling to Pittsburgh, you'll probably miss them. But I'll be performing at the Millvale Music Festival on May 21st. And then I'm hosting an event called Acoustic Cafe on Monday, May 23rd, also in Millvale, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
All right. Well, we may have some YouTube folks that are in Pennsylvania. They might be able to get to that. Where would they find that? Do you have a website or a Facebook page?
A Millvale Music Festival has a website. It's a huge music festival in Pittsburgh with more than 300 acts over 2 days.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds great. That sounds wonderful. Okay, so let's get to the really important thing. This is one of the big prizes. People don't realize if they win, other than, well, of course, there's a certain trophy that you get that I think you have with you. This is the famous trophy mug that you win with the 6 Feet Apart logo, and better yet, your name on the other side as the winner. That's what you get. Look at that. Oh, fame, fortune, and a mug. What more could you ask for? You also get to name the spinny thing that we use to pluck the names out of the hat, as it were. And so whoever wins gets to name it for the next month. So Tori, what do you got for us?
Well, seeing as this is a mother-themed slam, I thought it was appropriate to name the spinny thing the Mother May I Select a Story Spinner.
Excellent. Mother, may I select a story spinner? Okay, that's not too much of a tongue twister. Sometimes people get really, tripped up. Well, or I get tripped up. So the Mother, may I, and see, I forgot about it already. All right. Well, fortunately, I think we have it written on a card, so I'll be able to remember it every time. So Tori, you're going to join us at the end of the show while the voting happens. We're going to get to hear a story from you, and we are looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and get the evening going. And we will pull up the Mother, May I Select a Story-O-Matic, bring it up, and find out who our first teller is. Tori, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Mother, may I select a story spinner? All right, we're going to spin this thing. We keep saying we're going to add music when we spin it, but we haven't gotten there yet. So it's a work in progress. So Mark, our tech guru, will bring up the spinner. The Mother, may I spin a story? There we go. And see who our first teller is of the evening. Norm Brecky. Okay, we have Norm Brecky coming at us from Portland, Oregon. We're going to bring Norm up to the stage and see what Norm has for us this evening. He is ready to go. And Norm, take it away. Welcome to 6 Feet Apart. Norm, we're lovely to have you here.
Well, I loved my mom, and she was the only one in the family who really got what I do, which is storytelling, trying to make people laugh and being on stage. Everybody else didn't understand. But I think it's really for a good reason, because really it's because of her that I am a storyteller. Because growing up, it was kind of all about mom. Everything was, but we loved it that way. Now, Sally was a complicated person. Some of the things that she did, people now would probably judge differently than they did back then, but she was fun for us, the kids. Her greatest joy was volunteering for the little theater on the bay. It was a community theater in North Bend, Oregon, where I grew up on the coast. And she just loved going to the shows there, and she worked in the backstage on the shows, and she just loved talking theater. And because of that, though, mornings were really not her thing. She didn't make her entrance in the morning until we were almost out the door and on our way to school. So we ate cereal. And if we were out of cereal, we'd eat Campbell's soup, or sometimes we'd split a can of our favorite secret breakfast, fruit cocktail. And she was also, of course, in the PTA. I mean, it's typical things. She scooped ice cream and made a bundt cake for the ice cream social. It was a big thing when I was in first grade that she did that. And when my dad won a cake, I got to pick the cake. And so, of course, I picked my mom's bundt cake because I knew that was good. So she coordinated the booth for the big bazaar at the Pony Village Mall, and she decorated the table, but she made this huge facade in our garage. It was she bossed all these parents and my brothers around for a couple of hours in the garage, and when she was all done, it was like this huge facade of an old red schoolhouse with a bell tower. I guess she won a prize for it and everything. But anyway, she always loved helping with the Halloween costumes and all those things. And every year she'd say, Norman, you need to dress up like a girl this year. And I'm like, no, Mom, I'm not going to dress up like a girl. I want to be the Wolfman or Dracula or Frankenstein's monster. And she was insistent. So when she was the den mother for us in Cub Scouts, we met at our house that was convenient for her. And towards the end of the school year, she volunteered to that we would perform a skit for recruiting new den mothers for the following year because they couldn't get any. And she wrote a little play for us. So all of the guys, they all got a part, and it was all about a plucky group of kids who couldn't do scouts because they just didn't have a den mother. And the poor kids. And they decided to mail order a den mother from a magazine. And so Mom's teaching all these parts, and she's rehearsing in the living room, and everybody's getting a couple of lines, and everybody's having fun. But I wasn't in the skit at all. And finally, she gave my buddy, Mark, who was one of my best friends, she said, your part is you're gonna roll out a wagon with a big box on it, and you're gonna say your line, and then you'll open up the box. I was confused. What am I supposed to do? She goes, well, come back to the bedroom, Norm. I've got a special part for you. Okay, so we went down the hall and went into Mom and Dad's room, which I never got to do. And there was a big box, and my old wagon was in there. And I said, and she said, what? She says, well, here, try this on. And she handed me one of her long red wigs with wavy hair. And I said, no. And she said, Norman, it's going to be really funny. No, I'm not in front of all the guys and then all the people at the cafeteria. The whole pack's going to be there. It'll be full. Norman, just do it now. And if your friends laugh, you can do it. How about that? Okay. So Mom taught me my lines, and I put on the wig, and I got under the box, and then she called my friend Mark into the bedroom, and he wheeled it down the hallway, and he came into the room where that was the stage area, and he said, hey guys, I have our new den mother just came. And he took the box off of me, and I was sitting there with the wig on, and my friends howled with laughter. And then I walked around like a robot and said my lines, and they kept laughing. And I couldn't understand it all, but afterward, I wasn't so sure. And the kids were like, Norman, it's going to be funny. You really ought to do it. So I said, okay, well, all right. So the night of the big pack meeting, it was full, the whole cafeteria. And and when they took the box off of me, the place exploded with laughter. And as directed, I waited until the laughing stopped. And I went up and I said, I'm a den mother doll, doll. And they cracked up even more. And I didn't know if they were laughing at me or with me, but I didn't care. They were laughing at me. And I was hooked. Thanks, Mom. That's why I'm a storyteller.
Yay. Oh, that's great. That's why you're a storyteller. You can give your mom credit for all the fame and fortune, eh, Norm? Okay, we're going to keep it going with another round of Mother, May I Select a Story? I'm liking this name. I really am. I can't wait till we get the theme music to go with it, though. Maybe some sort of a Twilight Zone thing or something. I don't know. Jury's still out on that. And it fooled me. Howard Lieberman is our next teller. Howard is happy to have you on our virtual stage, and we'll bring you up here in just a minute. Walk through the audience, and welcome to our stage, Howard. Thanks for being here. You're muted, Howard.
Okay. Even before my mother died, One more time, check the timer. Okay, sorry. Even before my mother died when I was 9, I was her daughter. The firstborn son, my older brother, Alan, he was a guy's guy. He did guy things, and he drove my mother crazy. I was the perfect daughter. I cooked, I cleaned, I sewed, I ironed my father's soiled boxer shorts. I waxed the legs on the table with pledge till they shined. My favorite thing, though, was cooking. When my mother died when I was 14, I took care of my brother as best I could. And I cooked my favorite dish for my brother whenever I could. It's called charbroiled chicken supreme. Charbroiled chicken supreme, now what is that? You take a whole chicken and you slice it down the back, pull it apart, cut off the spine, and you cut it into about 8, sometimes 16 pieces, okay? Then what you do is you put it in a broiler, skin side up, and you pour lots of garlic powder, lots of onion powder, lots and lots and lots of paprika. And you shove it in the broiler till it's black, till it's just almost looks burnt. Then what you do is you flip each piece and you turn the skin side down in the grease. And you pour more garlic salt, more onion salt, more paprika on the bottom side, and you broil it some more. And when you're done, you turn it over. And what was black before you turned it into the grease is a golden brown. You pull it out, you don't drain it. I mean, this was in the 50s. I'm that old, right? You don't drain it because you don't worry about those kinds of things. You put it on a plate. You make homemade French fries. I need to express a little concern. The air raid sirens are going off. We're in a tornado watch zone. I think I need to step away for a moment. And this is not part of the story. Our air raid sirens are going off. And I need to make sure that my wife is okay and that the house is okay. I apologize if you can fit me in at the back end, but I need to see what's going on. I truly apologize.
That's fine. It's fine. Howard, we hope all is well. Howard, thank you. And yes, come back to us and we can put you back on the show tonight. And we hope that you are safe and everyone is okay. So no apologies needed. All right. Well, we are going to get the story selector out again. The mother, may I select a story? And we'll see who's next up. Our tech guru is spinning right now. Here it comes. See if it fakes me out again. It stops, it pauses, and then it keeps going until it lands on Ray Engen. Ray Engen, back with us. Good to see you, Ray. As always, happy to have you on the show. And I hope there's no tornadoes in Santa Rosa or anything else. Welcome, Ray.
It could have been a Disney magical movie moment, but this was real. If you'd been climbing our plum tree amid hundreds of pink blossoming flowers, you would have had this bird's eye view of an adorable little boy, me, asking, "Mom, why are there more flowers on this tree this week when there weren't any last week?" Well, Ray, that tree is very special. It only flowers when someone super special is about to have a birthday. It's almost my birthday. That tree knows you are special. I hugged that tree. That plum tree liked me. It really, really liked me. I watered it. I sat in it. I sat in its shade. I ate lunch in its comforting limbs. I grew up believing in that tree. And every year its belief grew because every year right before my birthday, it started flowering again. It never dawned on me. My mom lied. She consciously chose to lie to make me feel special. That's how I was raised. Lies matter. Oh, my mom also said, when you lie, you blacken a piece of your soul. Because adults don't want kids to lie, but adults lie to kids all the time. I actually heard someone say, don't lie to me or Santa won't bring you any toys. See, lies aren't bad. It's the intention behind the lie that can make it bad. Good lies lift, bad lies self-serve. Every day contains a moment where the truth is optional. A moment like that one underneath the plum tree. Lies matter. Oh, this looks great on you. Lies matter. I'm fine. Lies matter. It's not you, it's me. Lies definitely matter. They create moments where we can step up and make a difference. Because lifting up someone, it doesn't take physical strength. It just takes listening, observing, and good attentions. My mom is now 73, bedridden with dementia in hospice care. Would hearing the truth help her? Mom, you're done. There's nothing we can do for you. No, lies matter. When I say to her now, I go, at 93, Mom, cholesterol doesn't count. You can have as many corn dogs as you like. When I started lying to her like that, she started talking like this. The doctor told her, your brain is that of a 117-year-old. My mom went, woohoo! My brain doesn't look a day over 108. She made me laugh. In a moment, I wanted to cry. Lies matter. Today, I look for lies that lift. Thanksgiving Day, I was teaching my mom a new song. That's something we like to do. And I said, Mom, I'll start. Let's do this song. I said, vanilla. And she went, ice, ice, baby. Boom, shakalaka, laka, boom. She doesn't get it all right, but she does get to smile. Now, my logical brother walked in. My mom pointed, the button, push the button, push the light switch. No, the button, push the button. There's no button, Mom. Is it Monday? Mom, we've been over this. Thanksgiving is always on a Thursday. We've been over and over this. The truth from my brother was not setting my mother free. I just stood up, pressed the button, and said, Mom, I pressed the button. What do you see? Colors, clouds, and dancing pandas. Exactly. Your average Monday Thanksgiving. Good lies make a difference. She planted that seed in me. The last time I saw her, her eyes sparkled, ear to ear grin, arms were out, fingers all ready for that full hug protocol. And she said, I heard you died. Well, if I did, Ma, I'd be in heaven because of the way you raised me. Oh, you'll never get there. Don't lie to me. Even bedridden with memory loss, she never forgets how to make people smile. I was born with my mom's eyes, but hopefully one day I'll have her vision to every day see a moment like the one under that plum tree. Last month, my mom graduated from hospice care. Well, maybe that's the wrong word. She didn't graduate. She dropped out. She's no longer in hospice care. I'll never know if it was the lies I was telling her that lifted her up, but I do know she understands lies matter. Because today she eats like crazy. Last week I watched her wolf down a corn dog. And then she looked at my brother and said, where's my corn dog? My brother said, you just ate one, Ma. Where's my second corn dog? Reflect on your relationships. The truth doesn't always set you free. Sometimes it's the lies that lift that matter the most. Thanks.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for that story. We're going to keep the evening moving along. We're hoping we'll get Howard back, but we're going to keep going along and spin the, I do want to say, sorry, Mark, my tech guru, I'm faking him out now. I want to say hi to Judy and Preeti and Professor Aubert, and Anne is out there watching on YouTube. And we're so glad that you're there and with us. Keep the love going in the chat, and glad you're enjoying the show. All right, now we'll get the spinner out. The Mother May I keep wanting to say Mother May I Tell a Story, but Mother May I Select a Story. And we'll find out who is selected this time. Bowen Lee will be our next teller. Yay. Happy to have Bowen on our show. I think first time at one of our open mic slams. So we're happy she's here. And Bowen, welcome to our virtual stage.
Mother's Day is hard for me. I mean, we've got the ideal American mother, the idea of motherhood, and we have Chinese mothers. The archetypal Western mother and the real life Chinese mother will never merge. What am I supposed to say on Mother's Day? Oh, Mom, thank you for always forbidding me to do everything my entire life. The hardest thing is that now I'm the Chinese mother. I'm looking on Jiffy and I'm choosing an animated GIF that says Happy Mother's Day. So my daughter is 6 months pregnant. And I don't want to send her a full-blown Mother's Day card because the baby hasn't come yet, but a little GIF will do. And I text it to her. And I know she's read it, but I don't get any response. And afterwards, about a couple hours later, she calls me. Hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Hi, darling. Happy Mother's Day. And there's silence on the other end. Then I remember, she's pumped full of hormones and she's ultra sensitive and she's like a puffer fish, this little balloon with spikes all over it. So I said, okay, be very careful. Our family hasn't decided what traditions we're going to have, and I'm not quite sure Mother's Day is going to be one of them. And I started laughing and she says, you're laughing at me. Oh, no, darling. I'm thinking about how different our generations are. We're set in our ways, but your generation, I have no idea what you've lived through and how you're thinking. But what I'm really thinking is when she was 1.5 years old, I'm Buddhist and her father was Jewish, so we never celebrated Christmas. And Christmas was just another day for us. So when she was 1.5, the day after Christmas, she went outside into our yard and looked up at the roof and said, I guess Santa couldn't fit through those little pipes on the roof. And I went, how did she find out about Santa Claus? We said nothing about it. We mentioned nothing about Christmas. We didn't have a television. She must have osmotically gotten the Santa Claus thing through the culture. She knew that Santa goes down the chimney to give presents to good girls and boys. And we had failed as parents because our daughter was expecting Santa Claus. Well, you can believe that after that, we made sure we did the Santa thing. In fact, when she was 4 years old and an older kid came up and said, do you know the truth about Santa Claus? I wanted to reach out and throttle that kid and tell her, don't you dare tell my daughter about Santa Claus. So I didn't say anything to my daughter. But later on, she texted me and she says that her husband fixed her a cake and a nice dinner, and they celebrated Mother's Day. And she said, Happy Mother's Day. I love you, Mom. Mother's Day is always going to be hard for me, but it's worth it.
Thank you so much, Bowen. Happy to have you on the show. Thank you for that story. I do want to say to the YouTube audience, other than thank you for being here, is we are going to give away a ticket to Jessica Robinson's Better Said Than Done story show, which is tomorrow night, I believe. And we're going to draw a name out of the hat at the end of the show of all the folks that are on YouTube. So stick around for that. And let's stick around for our next teller. Who could it be? Mother, may I select a story, please? Tech guru, hidden behind your spinner. Next up to our stage, we are going to have Brianne Bonner. Hi, Brianne. Lovely to have you here again. Welcome to our stage. Thank you.
Hi. My mother had a lot of creative hobbies, from poetry writing to decorating the house every other month to painting. I have some of her paintings hanging on my walls right now. But her favorite hobby was sewing. And I don't mean darning socks and sewing buttons on shirts. That stuff she'd say, throw it out. I mean serious, full-on lined suits, dresses with bones. That's a technical dressmaker term. And matching outfits. When I was a baby till when I was 13, she made us matching outfits. So my whole life, I heard her say, I'm making your wedding gown. And so that I heard that my whole life, that was the plan. And so in September of 1990, when I got engaged, she was so excited. It was part of all the wedding preparations. We were really excited. And we made our plan to go from Long Island to New York City and to her favorite store in the garment center of New York City to get the fabrics and the pattern and all the supplies we needed. Now, it's at this point of the story that I need to tell you that earlier that year, in February of 1990, she almost died after having a massive heart attack, a brain hemorrhage, and brain surgery. So for the rest of that year, she was recovering. And so this was particularly exciting in September of 1990 when we were going on this trip to the garment center in New York City to get the materials for my wedding gown. So she set about to make this wedding gown. I lived in Brooklyn at the time, and she lived on Long Island. So every couple of weeks when we would talk on the phone, I'd say, how's it going? And she'd say, oh, it's going great. It's fantastic. And so I said, all right, well, let me know when I can come out and do a fitting. And she said, yeah, I'll let you know. It's going great. It's going great. So months go by. I was working and going to school and living in Brooklyn, and she lived on Long Island. And so at the holidays, I said, so how's it going? Should we do a fitting? And she said, well, when you come out for Christmas, we'll do a fitting. So Christmas time comes, and she takes me up to her room where the sewing machine and all the materials were. and she shows me a pile of material with half of wedding dress made. And I said, well, I guess I can't do a fitting because only half of the dress is made. And she said, yeah, but it's coming along and we'll be fine. The months go by, and now in March of 1991, with a wedding date of May of 1991, I said to her, are you ready to do a fitting? And she said, well, why don't you come out and we'll have lunch? So we went out to lunch, and she proceeded to tell me that she couldn't sew anymore after having that stroke the year before. So there it was, March of 91, wedding date May of 91, with no dress. She put half of the dress together, and she said she did it wrong. She said, but I have a solution. Regina, who was her friend in Brooklyn, had a friend, Ingrid, in Brooklyn, who was a professional dressmaker. She said, Ingrid said she could whip up a wedding dress in no time. I said, well, let's get Ingrid. Let's get Ingrid on the phone, and let's get in to see Ingrid ASAP. And so we went to see Ingrid, and Ingrid said she could have this wedding dress made in a month. So 3 weeks before the wedding, I went for my first fitting for my wedding dress. And 3 days before the wedding, I picked up my wedding dress. So Mom wasn't able to make the wedding dress that she had promised me that she would make all my life. But the good news was Mom was at the wedding, which is the really best news of all, because that's what she always wanted, and she was not able to have her mother at her wedding. Thank you.
Thank you, Brianne. Thank you for your story. Howard is back, and we're going to bring him on at the end. Howard, everything okay? Thumbs up? Yeah, all good? Okay, good to know. Glad you're back with us, and glad everything is okay. So let's get the mother. May I select a story? The mother of all spinners. Let's bring that up and find out who our next teller is. The mother of all spinners. I like that. Who is next to the virtual stage here at 6 Feet Apart? Donna Joyce. Donna, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Looking forward to hearing your story. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our family of storytellers. The stage is yours. Thank you. You're muted.
I am muted. Okay. I was born in 1966, and I'm 55 years old. I was not sure that I wanted to become a mother because I didn't necessarily have all the parenting that I needed. And so I wasn't sure that I'd actually be a good mother. It frightened me. But I have learned to parent myself the way I have parented my kids. I have a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old. And every night when they were little, I would, at bedtime, we'd have this talk time. And afterwards, I would say, you are my sweet, smart, amazing one. You are fun and funny, a little funster. You are adorable and lovable. You are loving and so loved. You're intelligent and resourceful and talented. You're sensitive and super duper. You're just the greatest. And I love, love, love you. And we have a little back rub, and then it worked most nights. And I needed it too. I wanted to want my children before I had them. And I did. I just needed to do some things beforehand. Like I wanted to make sure that I had a career going before I had children. I mean, I was a smart girl all my life, from kindergarten beyond, top grades always. And I felt like success would look a certain way. And I had heard when I was like 7 years old that this little voice inside me, little Donna, say, Donna, you are a writer. But it was kind of hard to survive as the kind of writer that I am. And I did try to chain her to a desk and do journalism or advertising, publishing, film, photography. We landed on nonprofit fundraising, which, little Donna was not so excited about, but it was a career. 37 years old, I am ready to have a baby and I want to do it naturally, which, I felt like if I was going to do it once, I wanted to try to use the biology that I have. And a couple of months of trying to get pregnant, and I did it. We were successful. And that is when I realized I had no idea how to birth a baby. How did I go through my entire life and not know how to do this? I mean, surely this would have been good information K through 12, right? But I didn't know any good birth stories. And so I was adamant about finding good birth stories that resulted in natural childbirth. And I found them. Many of them had these two things in common. One was that they had given birth at home, which I wasn't sure I could make myself do. And the other was they'd taken this course, a Bradley birthing class, which was about 2 months long. We found them just in the nick of time. My husband was on board. We're going to do this together. And everybody's on board except like the doctor. The doctor doesn't believe that natural childbirth is really something that we have to aim for. But I was ready. We have a birth plan. My yoga teacher tells me she's a doula at the last minute. So all three of us wind up in the hospital. I'm 8 centimeters dilated because we've labored at home. And the nurses don't like this because there's no medication that's going to be involved. And they are running the show on a Saturday night when we show up. But with our birth plan in hand, they finally figure out how to get a nurse that has done natural childbirth before. And she's really helpful. All goes really well, except when the doctor walks in and is like, if this baby doesn't get out in 20 minutes, it's a C-section. Okay, back to work. In 20 minutes, our baby is born and it's wonderful. I have a baby on my chest I'm resting on this table that I've given birth on. And he's stitching me up. Doctor leaves and all of a sudden it's spotty. I say something's wrong and I can't figure out what, because I've never felt like this before and I'm hemorrhaging. It is not something that I learned about in Bradley birth or anywhere else, but it's apparently very common when you rip out the placenta after giving birth. And it felt like forever, but they found veins in my arms to give me intravenous. And I was alive to be a mother. I'm glad I am. And I did it again. being a mother is great, but it's a really hard thing to do. And it's really hard if you're not alive.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you for that. It's a beautiful thing, but it's also painful and messy. So thank you for that story. And we are going to keep this going with the Mother, May I Select a Story? We're coming down to our last few storytellers. And then, of course, we're going to have Howard at the end as well. But let's go ahead and bring up the spinner thing, Mr. Tech Guru, and see who we've got up for our next storyteller on our stage. Takes a while to get to this stage. That's why we have the spin for so long. Got to get through the steps, up the steps. Alyssa Hammond, here we go. Alyssa, welcome back to 6 Feet Apart. We're glad to have you here. Make your way up to the stage. Watch out for the steps. Don't trip. And we're happy to have you here.
Thank you. Lucky number 7. We'll see. My dad was an amazing photographer. My siblings and I have so many precious photos of ourselves because my dad had that eye. He knew how and when to capture us on film. And he developed that film in a dark room in the basement of my home in New Jersey. I was the lucky kid who got to be in the dark room with him. And I got to dip the photo paper one tray to the other and watch as the images appeared. And I love that. And I love my dad for doing that with me and for me. I was in awe of all he could do. Sure, there were probably other dads who took brilliant photos and other dads who developed their photos at their home in their own dark room. But my dad did all this coming from a little village in North Sumatra, Indonesia. Not many dads have done that. And this was just my dad's hobby. His job was as editor-in-chief in the Atlantic City Press. And again, he was from a small village in North Sumatra, Indonesia. English was his second language, and he managed to become editor-in-chief at the Atlantic City Press. That was amazing for my kid eyes to see. But wait. The show is called Mom's the Word. Why so much about my dad? Well, my parents divorced shortly after I got good at developing photos. When I turned 9 in the summer of 1980, my mom took me and 2 of my siblings to Indonesia. When we landed in Jakarta, I learned that Indonesia is like nothing else. Sure, we had humidity in New Jersey, but not like this. My skin was caked in sweat. Yes, we had smokers in New Jersey, but not like this. I could taste their clove cigarettes. We had traffic in New Jersey, but okay, actually we didn't. I'm from South Jersey. We didn't really have traffic there. It's a little farm town. But you get the idea. I'm in Indonesia and it's like nothing else. And I'm trying to figure out why I'm here, because I'm here with my German mom. My German mom speaks Indonesian because that's how she met my dad in Jakarta in 1964, but I don't speak Indonesian. It was 1980 and being bilingual was frowned upon, and that's the nice way of saying it. I couldn't understand why on earth my mom would take me and my siblings halfway around the world and I couldn't even speak the language. It wasn't making sense. And then my mom took us from Jakarta to North Sumatra, then to Bali, and to Lombok. Indonesia was so incredibly beautiful. Even to my young eyes, I saw the beauty. Lake Toba in North Sumatra is like a lake like no other. It was clear and undisturbed and just the right temperature for my picky little self. And the rice terraces in Bali are still at the top of my list of beauty that I've seen in this world. And then, of course, there's my family. They are so loving and generous. My family didn't have much, but yet they spoiled us. Every family we visited spoiled us. But again, why was I there with my German mom? Well, towards the end of the trip, my dad showed up. No one really explained this to me. I was the youngest of four. Adults don't always explain things to kids, but I learned at the end of that summer trip that my dad had decided to move back to Indonesia. He would not be in New Jersey anymore. No more photographs, no more darkroom. Just me, my siblings, and my mom. Life with my mom was not like life with my dad, but my mom is the one who took care of me, who took care of us. My mom is the one who shared her love of Indonesia with me. My mom is the one who kept me in connection with my dad's side of the family. My dad left. My mom stayed. And for that, I thank you very much. Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you. Mom's the word indeed. All right. We've got two tellers left and then Howard. Let's see who comes up. The mother, may I select a storyteller? May I select a storyteller, mother? Let's see who it is. I'm all excited to bring up. No. Lisa Beth Harris was supposed to be with us tonight, and she had an emergency and could not be here. So we're going to spin it one more time, Mark Tech Guru. If we could spin that again. There we go. We're always working out some bugs in the system, people. It's a working. Ingrid Nixon. Yay. All right, Ingrid, welcome to our open mic Story Slam virtual stage. We're happy to have you here from Alaska. Make your way. Thank you, Ingrid.
So I'm 7 years old, and I am walking up and down the aisles in the Ben Franklin store in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Now, this Ben Franklin store, it's one of those general stores. You can get anything there, from plumbing supplies to bolts of fabric. And my mother and my brother are somewhere else in the store, but I am on a mission because I am seeking the perfect Mother's Day gift for Mom that can't cost more than 50 cents. And so as I walk up and down those aisles, I find I walk past the snack bar, and there at the end of the bar, there is this cage, and it holds a myna bird, a real live myna bird, this black bird with an orange beak. And there is this sign on the cage that says, if you can get this bird to say hello, you can take it home. I think, perfect. So I stand there. Hello, 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 hello. The bird stays mum. So I continue on my quest, and I wander into the women's clothing section. And there, with the ladies' handbags, I see it. It is this small black rectangular coin purse. It's made out of black vinyl, painted on the side with gold and with little spots of blue and red is this elegant filigree. And it's got a gold clasp. And when I open it up inside, it's got a little zipper section and then two side pockets. And it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my price range. And so I buy it. Mother's Day rolls around. My siblings and I, we make Mom breakfast in bed. Sorry, Mom. But she muscles through it, and then she's sipping her coffee, which my father made, and she opens her presents. And then she gets to my gift, and she unwraps that coin purse, and she holds it in her hand, and she admires the gold filigree, and she opens the clasp, and she oohs and ahs. And I sit there, this is a symbol of my love for her. And then in time, I see that she takes her change, puts it in that coin purse. It disappears into her black Naugahyde handbag. And in the future, as I see her pulling that out, each time I think, oh, symbol of my love for you. Well, time passes, a lifetime. And 2 years ago, when my mom was 89, she passed away. And I know that many of you have experienced that kind of loss. And for me, it was as if my whole world had just blown apart. All the atoms just scattered. And then they all reassembled themselves. And so the world looked exactly the same, but it felt totally different. And so my siblings and I, we had to then empty out the family house, this house that my mother had lived in for almost 50 years. And I was upstairs in her bedroom. There was her dresser drawers. I opened the top drawer, and there, with her pearls and her scarves and her earrings, was that black vinyl coin purse. And I pulled it out. I held it in my hand, and the gold filigree with the blue and red paint, it was just as beautiful as I remembered it. And I opened that gold clasp and discovered that the side pockets inside had totally ripped out. I mean, it didn't work. It was trashed. And yet my mom had never thrown it away. For so many years, she had pulled out that drawer, and there had been that coin purse. And as I held that coin purse in my hand, I was suddenly struck by the fact that, well, a mynah bird never would have lasted this long. But even more, as I held that in my hand, it was as if I could see the atoms of that coin purse just kind of blow apart and reassemble, because in my hand, that purse transformed from a symbol of my love for her to a symbol of her love for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you for that story. Okay, well, we are down to our last/second to last teller. And we're going to bring her up. I don't even know if we need to spin the thing. Do we, Tech Guru? No, we know who it is. It's Neshama Franklin. There it is. Sorry, Neshama, you don't get to spin, but you do get to come up to the virtual stage. I know. Pirouette once for us. Welcome, Neshama.
Okay. So my mother was the ultimate manager, or that's what we called her. She did it behind the scenes, but she was very effective. For instance, when she married Saul Rosenbaum, my father, he said, "No children, I have bad genes." Guess what? I'm here. She managed that. Now we're going to go to the end of her life. She was 94 years old. And she looked at me and she said, "I'm tired. I've had a very rich, long life. I'm ready to leave." That was her euphemism for it. And indeed, her life had shrunk. I mean, there were no more card shark bridge games, and she wasn't able to knit and read mysteries and watch television simultaneously. And she had spinal stenosis, so she couldn't move around very well, and a stroke had taken out one eye. Enough was enough, she said. And I said, "Well, that's really interesting. What? She said, "I've read about it. I'm just going to stop eating and drinking." Now, my sister and I, we were okay behind this. It's her life. My daughter and the grandchildren, we've been visiting every Friday for a good 12 years. They didn't. You mean you're tired and you're just going to check out? But what could they do? Now her doctor, brilliant gerontologist, first he did a whole bunch of tests to see if there was anything to fix, but there wasn't. She was unfixable. And by then she had stopped eating. And he said, I'm going to have to, have a mental acuity test to make sure she's in her right mind. I said, Mom, you better start eating so you can pass this test, so you can do what you want. And sure enough, she aced that test. But she said, the testers, what a stupid, stupid woman. What a stupid test, multiple choice. Now, when she embarked on this journey, I had no idea how long it would take. She was a tough old bird. But I took a leave from work and I was just going to sit vigil and see what it was like. And it was pretty amazing. I mean, I saw her converse with something between where the wall and the ceiling met. And sometimes it was very lively and sometimes it was kind of scary. And she'd look up at me after one of these episodes out of those very bright green eyes with the bags under them. She had bags when she was a baby. I have the picture to show it. But she said, what just happened there? And I said, well, Mom, what I've heard is that at times like this, the veil between this life and that thins, and maybe they're ready to welcome you. And she'd say, oh. And then she'd go back to wherever she was in this process. And by then, this whole thing took 14 days and we were well into it. And it was time for us to go to Memorial Day camping. We did it every year. And I said, Mom, should I go? And she said, go. And just before we left, the phone rang and it was the hospice chaplain. She was not particularly fond of him. I forgot to tell you, the most important thing about this story is Dr. Dong brought hospice in, and boy, do they know what they're doing. And boy, did this make a kind of an amazing journey out of it. But he said, your mother has started eating again. She says it's too boring just lying there. And my heart rose up. Maybe she'd stick around a little longer. But when we got back, that fasting had done its work on that old body, and she was about to die a natural death, which went down a lot better with the daughter and the grandchildren. And sure enough, it was July 4th. And the same hospice worker who had taken her in was there to check on her. Everybody else was on vacation. And she had her hands on my mother's feet, which were very high arched with hammer toes because she wore very too small shoes when she was growing up. And the feet were cold and blue. And she said, Anne, this could be your Independence Day. And sure enough, at shift change, when the nurse came with the morphine, my mother took one breath, and that was it. No more breaths. And there she was. She had accomplished what she had set out to manage. I called my daughter. We sat on either side of the husk of my mother until Neptune Society, which had been ordered way in advance, wrapped her tenderly up in velour and wheeled her out. And then we went into the bathroom where what was left of her worldly possessions was all boxed up because she said, I don't want to spend another day's rent at this place. And in the van with her possessions, we went up to Table Rock in Berkeley and we lay on our backs and we watched the fireworks go off. Leave it to the manager to know that every year there's no way we could forget her life and death. Boom! Thank you, Anne Rosenbaum.
Thank you so much, Neshama. Boy, all of these stories are just so heartfelt. It's been a wonderful evening, and we are going to bring Howard up. I don't think we need to spin the spinner thing. Howard, we're going to bring you back up to the stage, and you can start from the beginning of your story and just take it away and tell us all about that chicken. And you're on mute.
The storm is hitting us right now, And so anyway, I apologize for how clunky my start was. I'm watching the storm move in. I hear the noise, so I apologize. And if you hear heavy sounds in the background, there's hail pounding my window here. Even before my father left us when I was 9, I was my mother's daughter. My older brother, he was a guy's guy. You know, he liked sports. He liked being a mean older brother. His idea was cooking was to say, Howard, can you cook me something? And I usually did. And I learned to iron. I learned to cook, of course, and sew and wax furniture and scrub pots and pans till they were basically useless. Ironed my father's soiled jockeys and boxers, but that was okay. See, because I learned to make a house like a mom, and I was kind of proud of that. My mom's friends would call me for recipes because they heard how good a cook I was. The one that really won the kudos from everybody was my charbroiled chicken supreme. What you would do is you would take a whole chicken, none of this, you buy parts and you buy a whole chicken, and you take a cleaver and you hack it along the back spine, tear it open and cut it into 8ths or even 16ths. Cut the spine out because that's not edible. And then you put everything down on a platter and you pour onion powder and garlic powder and black pepper and paprika. I mean, a lot of paprika. Don't be shy with the paprika. Put a lot of paprika on the chicken. And you put it under the broiler until it really cooks, until it's black, just charred. Then you pull it out and you turn that skin side down into all the fat, all the drippings, all that good grease. And you sprinkle all that stuff back on again. And then you cook that sucker. The last second, you flip it over again, and you notice that it's not black anymore, it's golden brown, just for about 10 seconds, just to crisp it up a little bit, and then you take it out. And you serve it with homemade French fries. You get good Idahos, you slice them, and you fry them in deep fat. Sometimes you put some bacon fat in for flavor. I mean, we weren't worried about cholesterol back then, and I didn't even know what cholesterol was, but that's what I made. And life was good. Life was good. I was a little gender confused, I admit, and I didn't have a lot of guy friends. And when my mom died, after working in a factory to try and support 2 boys, I was only 14. And I was basically a gender confused homemaker with no home to make. In fact, no home at all. And so for many years, I roamed around and around, and I just hated a lot about my life, including my mother, my brother, all my relatives, and everything I knew about my childhood. Until one day, I came home and my wife, Pat, said, "What should we have for dinner?" And we tend to get kind of predictable. I mean, we all do, don't we? We all make the same things over and over and over. I said, "I have an idea. I'm going to make you charbroiled chicken supreme." And my wife said, "What is that?" I said, "Let me surprise you. Let me surprise you." And when she watched me make it, we're very health conscious. We're like health nuts. She said, "I can't eat that. That's like, it's 100,000% cholesterol." I said, at that moment, that was my mom's recipe. And we're eating this tonight in honor of my mom. And you know what, Mom? every time I eat chicken now, I don't usually eat charbroiled chicken supreme because I'd be dead now if I did. But every time I have even a skinless chicken breast with edamame pasta and other healthy things, I remember my mother. And I remember the day she walked out of our house to go to the factory and died of a heart attack, probably from eating my chicken. I'll never forget her, and I thank her for letting me develop into the kind of man who can appreciate what it means to be a mom. Thank you, Mom. I miss you.
Thank you, Howard. I'm so glad you were able to come back and join us and tell us that lovely story, as all of the stories were lovely. This has been a wonderful evening, and it's about time to vote, but I want to bring each of the storytellers back kind of one at a time just to remind you of who they are, because we know we've had 10 storytellers tonight, or 9. I lost track. We're counting Howard twice, so we've had 10. We're going to bring him back in reverse order. Okay, so first up, Howard Lieberman with his story, Char-Broiled Chicken Supreme. And then Ingrid Nixon told us about the coin purse. Oh, I'm sorry, Neshama Franklin told us about how she managed everything. I'm kind of mixing it up a little bit. Neshama told us about her mom who managed everything. And then before that, we had Ingrid Nixon, who told us about the coin purse. There's Ingrid. Hello, Ingrid. And before Ingrid was Alyssa Hammond with My Dad. The My Dad story on Mom's the Word. But you made that work. And before Alyssa, we had Donna Joyce. Donna's story, almost didn't become a mom. Almost didn't become a mom. Hi, Donna. All right. Before Donna, we had Brianne Bonner, The Dress. All about her mom and the dress. Bo and Lee, before that, Mother's Day is Hard. Mother's Day is Hard with Bo and Lee. Ray Engen. Before Bo and Lee, we had Ray Engen, and he told us about Lies Matter. Lies Matter. And starting us off tonight was Norm Brecky. Norm Brecky, and he talked about the Den Mother doll. So those are all of our storytellers. And what we're going to have you do in order to vote, YouTube folks, you need to go to the 6 Feet Apart website, which is sfapshows.com. There it is right there in front of me. sfapshows.com. I guess it's got to go this way. And you'll see a big red button that says vote here. And then you will see a page that has the pictures of them, story titles, and you can vote for your 2 favorite stories. So you get 2 votes here on 6 Feet Apart, 2 votes. So we ask you to go over there and vote. And while that's happening, we are going to bring back Tori Shine for a story, a Mom's the Word story. That's another perk. If you win the slam, you get to come back the next month and regale us with another tale. So let's bring up Tori to our virtual stage and hear what she has to say. Thanks, Tori, and welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I'm sitting in a doctor's office waiting on test results, and I am freezing my eggs, my ovarian eggs. I always imagined I would have a family, that I would find that right partner and we'd have kids together, that our children would have siblings like I did when I was growing up. And I always thought it'll happen when the time is right, but I'm 20, I'm 25, I'm 30, I'm 35, and now I'm 36, and it still hasn't happened. And I'm thinking, I wonder if I'm running out of time. And so here I am, sitting in this doctor's office, waiting for the doctor to come back and tell me my ovarian reserve. But the thing is, I feel really fertile. I feel it. I've never tested this. I've spent my entire life trying to not get pregnant. I did a really good job at that. Thinking now, like, well, maybe I should have let one slip through every now and then. But I didn't. And here I am. But I feel fertile. And I think when this woman comes back in, she's going to look at me and say, wow, you have the ovaries of a 26-year-old. Because that's honestly that's how I feel. When she does come back in the room, she tells me I have the ovaries of a 36-year-old. There's nothing wrong with me. I am 36 years old. I'm normal. And I'm aging. And it terrifies me. The good news, though, is that as an average 36-year-old, I'm a good candidate for freezing my eggs. I could still have a baby now, but the thing is, I'm not ready to have a baby now. I'm single. I don't want to settle for the wrong partner just so we can have kids together. I'd rather be alone than be with the wrong person. I don't want to do it on my own. I don't want to give up hope that I'll find that partner and make that happen. I just wish I had more time. So I can freeze my eggs. I can take these good eggs that my body is producing in my 30s and freeze them, and then use those eggs and have healthy kids into my 40s, or even my 50s if I really want to. I'm in. My doctor tells me that if I want a really good chance at having one successful live birth, which I do, I need at least 20 eggs. 20? I mean, I know I said I want a lot of kids, but I didn't want that many kids. But she walks me through the math, how not every egg survives being thawed. They don't all fertilize. They don't all grow into viable embryos. And then once they put the embryo inside of me, only about half of them are going to attach and become a pregnancy. And then when I am pregnant, well, a third of most pregnancies end in miscarriage anyways. Okay, I get it. I need 20 eggs. I might be able to pull this off in a single cycle. On average, it takes about 2, but 20 is totally in game. And I'm really hoping I can do it in 1. Because scheduling IVF is really hard for me. I travel so much for work. It's part of the reason I have so much trouble dating. I'm always traveling. To do IVF, I need to be home every single day for 3 weeks in a row, able to go to the hospital that morning. And then once I start doing the shots, the injections of these drugs that are going to get me to produce lots of eggs, well, after I start the shots, I have to be available for surgery any single day after that with a single day's notice. I teach at a university, so that pretty much blocks out every semester. And it's months before I can start my first cycle. But finally, we start. I learn how to give myself injections. I'm mixing up saline and syringes. I'm getting up at 6 a.m. every day to go into the hospital for blood work and ultrasounds. And I can feel something growing inside of me, which is so cool. I've never felt that before. And then one day, I'm at the ultrasound and I'm looking at the screen and I see eggs for the first time. Well, they're not actually eggs, they're egg sacs. Each egg sac might have an egg inside and it might not. We don't know till we do the extraction. It's like Schrodinger's egg sac. And I know they're not babies and they're not even eggs, they're egg sacs, but I see those dots on the screen and I see family and I pull out my phone and I take a picture because I'm already just so proud. My doctor's measuring these dots as we progress, trying to figure out my peak day when we have the most egg sacs at the best size. For me, that's day 10. I go in for the extraction and I'm feeling really optimistic. We need 20 eggs. When I wake up from the anesthesia, the first thing I do, I can barely even open my eyes, but I turn to the nurse and I ask, how many eggs did you get? 9, she says. And I just instantly, I break down and cry. And 9 is not a bad outcome at all. 9 is average. In terms of fertility, average, it's pretty darn good. But I don't want to be average. I want to be extraordinary. I want to be a mother. I want 20 eggs and I don't have it. So I do a second cycle. It takes another 6 months before I can schedule another cycle, and then it's more injections, more blood work, more ultrasounds. When I wake up from the anesthesia, day 10, first thing I do, I turn to the nurse and I ask, How many eggs did you get? 7, she says. And I cry. It's going down. It's almost a year before I can book my next cycle. Finally, I figure it out. I'll tell you, by my 3rd cycle, I have become an IVF professional. I'm ordering all my medication from a pharmacy in Canada, saving a bunch of money. I have a mini fridge under my desk at work, so I don't have to drive home for the refrigerated shots anymore. I've gotten really good at turning down a drink during happy hour, real casual-like, without causing every person at the table to turn their heads and ask, "Are you pregnant?" It's a skill. And I've timed my whole cycle so that day 10 is smack in the middle of spring break. That way I can do an IVF cycle during the semester and I don't have to worry that I'll miss any classes. Perfect. But although I have gotten much better at IVF, my body has gotten worse. Things are happening, but it's happening slower. I get all the way to day 10, but my body hasn't peaked. I'm not even viable yet. I keep stimulating. I go to day 11, to day 12. I say to the nurse, like, look, if we don't pull the trigger shot in the next day, I'm going to have to cancel my classes. And we tried to time this out just right. I'm a young female scientist. Canceling classes is not a good look. There's got to be something we can do to speed this up. And the nurse turns to me and she says, well, you're doing this because you want to be a mother, right? Yes. If you do become a mother, this is not the last time having kids will affect your career. Damn! That's a really good point. I bite the bullet. I cancel my classes. I keep stimulating. Day 13, day 14. I still haven't peaked. Technically, I'm in viable range, but on the lower side. I want to keep stimulating, but I'm not allowed to go any more days. I have to take the trigger shot, and so I do. And they hook up the IV, and I'm thinking, okay, I got 9, I got 7, I just need 4 more to get to 20. 4 more eggs. When I wake up from the anesthesia, like clockwork, I turn to the nurse, and the first words out of my mouth, how many eggs did you get? 17, she says. And I cry. I think anesthesia it makes me really weepy. It's the anesthesia. I don't know if I'll ever have kids. If my kids will have siblings. I still have a long row ahead of me. I do know I don't feel rushed right now. I know that I've got 33 eggs on ice. And I hope I bought myself a little more time to figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you, Tori. That was a great story. And congratulations on your prolific egg production. And I hope it works out however you choose to have it work out. Sounds like you got a lot to go on. So that's great. That's that's super great. Now I'm going to bring up, so voting's still happening. I'm going to bring up my co-producer, Claire, because she's bugging me to be on the screen. She can't go for an entire show without jumping in. But before she jumps in and says a word, I just want to say congratulations, Claire Hennessy, who is now an American citizen. What?
Yeah. You accepted me. More fool you is all I can say.
I know. I can't believe it. She's got to learn how to swear in American. And, you're going to have to change. You can't sing God Save the Queen. It's, it's God Bless America, right? My country.
I don't sing ever because that's horrible. But now I'm going to have to learn to swear in American.
Yes,
so Regina's going to have to teach me American swearing. So
because she has taught me how to swear in British. So I'm quite proud of that. I'm quite chuffed, as a matter of fact. All right. So Claire is going to talk about what's coming up. Claire, what do we got coming up?
Well, we've got so much. We've actually been really organised. I can't believe it. But we've got our second anniversary, which was actually in March. But I had to go to England, unfortunately, because my father was very sick. So we put it off until May. So we've got the best show ever. We've got Kin Whitecamp, Donna Washington, Alton Chung, and Andy Offutt-Irwin all coming on to tell fabulous stories about birthdays and anniversaries. And we're going to have surprises. There might be songs from people we know. There might be, hopefully not me singing, so that'll be good, but you never know. So it's just going to be fun. We'll have giveaways, we'll have fun stuff. Go and get tickets. Tickets are on our website. You can, and Eventbrite, you can just go and get tickets. It's going to be a really good show. So that's our anniversary show. I can't emphasize enough. And go and have a look at the champagne label, because we spent a long time on that one, and I'm very proud of the label. So when you go and see the ad, go and have a look large on the label, because I think it's funny. Anyway, so that's our anniversary show. That's on May the 26th at 6:00 Pacific time. Go and get a ticket. Then we've got, if you liked the open mic tonight, we've got another one coming up. We do them on the second Wednesday of every month. This one, the theme is Schools Out. Now, this time I've decided that Regina she can't be on it anymore. She's been doing too many. So we've kicked her off, and we've got the lovely, lovely Brandon Spars is going to be emceeing. Actually, Regina's just away. But Brandon's going to be emceeing, and we'll have 10 telespots like normal. When they're gone, they're gone. So tickets went on sale literally about 10 minutes ago. So you can go and get a ticket right now. Anything to do with school or schools out, there's a whole thing. Anything that vaguely relevant to that, go and get that ticket. Also, the Bay Area Storytelling Festival was fantastic, even though I didn't actually manage to get there myself because I had COVID. It's not delightful, but it was absolutely brilliant. If you missed it, there were just amazing stories, and it was live at Orinda, and we live streamed it. So you can actually still buy a ticket and watch it until the 31st of July. So I cannot tell you how brilliant they all were. And it was lovely to have people and have an actual in-person audience. There's also a workshop with Corey Rosen and Sheila Arnold telling you how to tell either a traditional or a personal story, and that's all included. So go and have a look. It's absolutely brilliant, and that's on our website as well. And then Jessica Robinson from Better Said Than Done has forced me to promote her show tomorrow, which is Mother May I, which is very, we thought that was good because maybe they should have the spinny thing. And there's going to be amazing storytellers. Shweta Bak was one of our Storyslam winners. Donna Washington's obviously going to be on our show next, the anniversary show. Kurt Waller was one of the MCs at the Bay Area Storytelling Festival. All the tellers are amazing. And we're going to now do a little draw. So we thought we'd give away a ticket. So I took everybody from the audience, and I put them into a lovely 6 feet apart mug. You might get one of these if you're lucky on the anniversary. They're very sought after. They're going to be in,
They're going to be in 100 years on Antiques Roadshow. It's going to be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. That's
so for a free ticket on the show, it's going to be, John Albert, you're going to have a free ticket. I hope you're available tomorrow, but I think she does record it, and I will liaise with you. So don't worry, we'll sort out a ticket. I'll put it in your name, and we'll get you the thing for tomorrow. So that's good. Lovely.
Wonderful. Now. And Claire, you've got... don't we want to talk about what you've got coming up?
Oh, yes. No, first of all, on Friday this week, coming up at the Castro Theatre with 1,400 or 1,800 people, it's Regina, her over there. She's in a Grand Slam of the Moth. She's got a fabulous story, won a slam. She's in the Grand Slam of the Moth. Huge thing. So go, if you're anywhere near San Francisco, get a ticket. There's still some available. Come and see Regina and vote for Regina. Whether she tells a crap story or not, she'll be brilliant. She never has done though.
Thank you. I'm very much looking forward to that. Just being on the stage at the Castro is going to be a win right there. So very excited about that. And Claire, you are going to be in the NSN on the 21st of National Storytelling Network, 21st of May, which is Saturday, and it's at 5:00 Pacific time and 7:00 Central time. And you are telling it's like a 40-minute story, yeah?
Yeah, 45 minutes. The longest story I've ever told. So it's a little scary.
Yeah. Claire, I have no doubt that you can talk for 45 minutes. I
can talk for 45 minutes, but if I can talk on topic, it's a little bit,
Well, there is that. You are a bit like, look, squirrel.
I am shiny object.
But all right. So we've covered, we've talked on and tooted our own horn, and so we can move on to the part of the evening you've all been waiting for, which is who's the winner?
It is Ingrid Nixon. Yay. Well done,
Nixon.
Ingrid.
Well done, Ingrid.
Lovely story.
Well done. That was a beautiful story. Beautiful story. So congratulations.
Ingrid, well
Ingrid.
done. Be prepared for it to
Thank
change
you.
your life. Obviously, that story.
Yeah, obviously it's going to change your life, and you're going to get a mug with your picture on it, and well, with your name on it anyway.
Can I show you something?
Yes.
You can. Oh, is that the coin purse?
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that's beautiful. That is beautiful.
So
it was
lovely.
in my price range.
It was in your price. I love the most beautiful thing in my price range I've ever seen. That was a super great line. So super great. We'll be in touch with you, Ingrid, because of course we'd love to have you come back next month if you can, and tell a quick story for us. And also we'll talk to you about getting you your swag, etc., etc.
Awesome.
So
thank you so much. Great
And you get to
stories,
name
everybody.
the spinny thing.
yeah, and you got to name the spinny thing. So start thinking about that.
Best prize of all.
Yeah, that's the best part of the whole thing. But thank you. All of our stories. Let's take a look. Can we see all of our storytellers back again up in the gallery view? We're so happy. It was a wonderful, wonderful night. I'm amazed. Every time we do this, we have such quality storytelling and such a varied amount of storytelling, even though it's the same theme. Really well done. It was funny. It was heartfelt. It was all of those things. So thank you. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Very much appreciated. So you in the YouTube audience, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much, YouTube. Yeah,
Yes. Thank
lovely.
you for all
And by the way,
chat.
all of you got lovely, lovely comments. Go back and read them all because they've just been very, very prolific in their appreciation of you all.
So thank you from 6 Feet Apart Productions. Good night. We'll hope to see you on May 26th for the anniversary show or June 8th for School's Out. All right. Be well. Drive safe.
Bye.
6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. It's the newest thing to do. Stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. The distance between me and you. 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. And when I say I'll keep you very close to my heart, it's purely metaphorical. These times are quite historical. So step aside, let's live our lives 6 feet apart.